All right, folks, this particular game type is called Tug of War. And when you set your map up, you're going to want to set up a couple control points. Try to do an odd number of control points. As you see here, we usually have done 5. We've done 3, depending on how many people actually showed up. Aside from the control points, you're going to want to set up your respawn locations for both your red and your blue teams. And the control points don't have to be anything special. Just a flagpole, some type of flag indicator, just so people know where that particular control point is. Now, as far as respawns, I know people love playing medic games. This is not a medic game. No medics. You will have to spawn from your designated spawn points, either blue or again red. So that actually does kind of help out, and it's kind of part of it. Actually flows with the game pretty well. Is if you're on the blue team, you should be able to get to these first 2 parts of the objectives pretty quickly, and the same can be said for the red team. Be able to get to these 2 points pretty quickly. The middle should be pretty neutral for both teams. Now, when you set these control points up, keep in mind that there's going to be a designated path between them. So people will know where to move for the next part of the game, next part of the objective. So it'll be a sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, when you are setting these up, try to keep the spawn points and the control points within the same amount of distance. We've used 100 yards for our games. Maybe do 50, if you don't have such a big field. It all depends, right? Try to keep them at a good distance so you can't just sit at one position and shoot another position. We don't want to see that happen. That's not fun. So as I said, this game is Tug of War. Both teams are going to fight over a crate that's in the middle of the map, right? This crate, be a good sized crate, something that takes 2 people to get a hold of and move. And we're going to weight it down. We've weighed it down with 40 to 50 pounds when we do it. And that way, you can't just pick it up and gun and run it, right? You have to actually think about having your team around you before you can just move this thing, because you can't shoot and carry this at the same time. So, the beginning, crate's in the middle. Both teams will converge, try to capture this crate. First team to get to it simply has to hold it at the center location for 10 minutes, 5, 15, whatever you want the field count to be. And then just like in a game of Tug of War, they're going to tug it, pull it to their respawn point. So if it was red, red would move it to the next control point, hold it for 10 minutes, move to the last control point, hold it for 10 minutes. So if your team was quick enough and fast enough, this game could last as quick as 35 minutes. I'm going to say 35 because it does take some time, obviously, to travel in between all the points. So it could be a pretty quick game. However, just like a game of Tug of War, blue team can at any point kill the opposition and do the opposite. Hold for 10, hold for 10, hold for 10, and bring it to their particular spawn point. And that's what makes the game Tug of War. You're moving this objective one way or the other to take it to that final position near your respawn location. Now, since the game could last indefinitely, and we've actually had it last about 2 hours at one of the games that we did this with, setting an end clock, a cap, is a good idea. Maybe 90 to 120 would be pretty fun. That would give a lot of time, and it gives a lot of time for tactics, right? And time to move around and try to take the position and hold it and move it and think, not just run, right? And then if you do the cap, let's say the end of the game is getting close to the cap, the winner would simply be however close this is to your spawn location, right? If blue had it right here, well, it's closer to their spawn location than to red team, so they would win. But of course, if it was still in the center, then guess what? Sudden death will give you another 10 minutes. So you can fight for whichever way that you can get it. One suggestion to time the crate is just a stopwatch. We use stopwatches on the objective itself and just had team members manage it. Just clear it and reset it every time you do 10. But I know you might want to have a ref also taking control of that and keeping an eye on it. That way people don't get lost and, less for the players to think about. And the whole idea here is to keep the objective moving and trading off with attack and defense. So we've always enjoyed this game type, simply because you're constantly moving. So that's it.